Yo,
Hello.
how's it going?
Doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Nice.
Just tired.
What was that?
Tried. I I tried to aim this around like 6 p.m. because I know we're 3 hours apart, but hopefully this worked out for you.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's not like too much of a rush to do it a little early.
Yeah, there's no problem. I have two VODs to go over, mainly Fox and Marth. The
Mm-hmm.
first one's a Marth VOD from yesterday, last
Mm-hmm.
local. Um,
Yo, what's up,
I
BGBC?
kind of hold on, let me just send them all right now. I kind of want to go over the neutral part against this Marth I was playing. It's around 13 minutes in. It's pretty early in the VOD.
Okay. Maybe we could just go through the introduction really quick. You could just say your
Okay,
tag, where you're from, how long you've been playing, and your goals for the game.
gotcha. I'm phteven, or people just call me Steven. I've been playing this game since I was around 14, 13, which is around 2016.
Okay.
I stopped playing after I started high school, but after playing some fighting games, I got it back into melee since I got good at them. And I was like, maybe I should try to aim for PR. So I've been grinding it out recently, and I've been beating players I used to never be able to beat when I was a teenager. So my frontal lobe has developed, I guess. But
Mm-hmm. I know that. I
I've
know that.
been,
I know that feeling.
yeah.
All right.
So
Cool.
I'm
And
really trying to improve. Sorry,
no, go for it.
I'm just really trying to aim for that PR level and just like I feel like right now I'm not thinking too much about the game. Like when I'm playing, I'm not keeping track of like habits, and I'm kind of just like letting my muscle memory do the work for me, which
Mm-hmm.
is where I'm trying to like deviate kind of away from and kind of just like adapt more to however the person is playing.
Okay.
And I feel like that's where I'm struggling a lot.
Okay. And okay, so in this first VOD, where exactly am I going in the Twitch VOD?
13 minutes.
13 minutes? Okay. So let me and let me know if the Discord stream is working.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
It's a little farther back, I guess.
Okay, so it's Falco Marth.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So what issue did you feel like you were having in this set, or like what thoughts do you have on this set in particular?
Well, first, one of my main questions is when you have Marth cornered, when should you go and approach Marth in the corner, or should you just like keep playing the stalemate? Because I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I get this Marth into the corner, and I end up letting him back in more than often than I should, because I try to go in and I end up getting punished for
Okay. Yeah. Um That's definitely kind of like what you were saying before of like a player habit thing where like you kind of have to feel out like the sort of vibe of like whether the Marth is going to try to press out of the corner or not. Cuz like if Marth dashes out of the corner, that's actually like the most ideal situation to hit him rather than him like staying in the corner. Cuz if Marth dashes out of the corner and you hit him with like a nair or something like that, or a back air, a lot of times he'll get like the DI in, and maybe you can end up getting like a down air out of that or something. Or you'll just get
it.
like a down air on the DI in, and he's holding in, and you get some sort of like on stage sort of. Maybe you can get a double down air. It depends on the position, or maybe you can just get like a back air off stage or something like that. Um, so you kind of want to hit him more for leaving the corner than staying in the corner, and you only really want to like try to force it in the corner when you feel like he's very committed. Like there's this sort of game back and forth of like you want Marth to try to leave the corner and he needs to leave the corner at some point, and you're kind of trying to like move around and use the lasers to sort of feel out like how desperate is he to get out of the corner, what type of stuff is he doing to try to get out of the corner. Like, for example, like sometimes you'll shoot the laser and then Marth will be trying to do like a nair drift in or something like that, and the laser will cancel the nair, but now you know that, like, okay, he just tried that nair to get out of the corner, so maybe, that nair is something that's like sort of part of his like repertoire to get out of the corner, and you can kind of like internalize like what he did to sort of set that up. And you kind of start building like a list of like reads in the corner against like a particular Marth, using that advantageous position to like sort of like gather the information. And at some point you'll get the sense that like they can tell that like you're just holding them in the corner and they're just kind of sitting there, and that's when you can like finally move in and hit them. But if they read that you're gonna try to go in, like, it's basically that if you hold them in the corner, they can know that you're trying to hold them in the corner and it doesn't really help them. But if they know that you're gonna go in, then if they read that, then they get an advantage out of that. And so you can stalemate as much as you want, but the one time that you do go into the corner has to be the time that they don't read it. And that's just sort of like the mix that's played there, where you have one that you can use way more often safely, and then one that's more of like a commitment that you have to make sure they're not reading when you do it.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
All right. Were there any other thoughts you had on this before we start going into it, or do you want to just hop in?
Uh, I think one more thing I had was probably about general shield pressure against Marth. I know, like, I try to shine there sometimes, and then like he can literally wave dash out and then just force smash or something like that. Is because like my 2016 brain is like shield pressure is awesome. I don't know how much that translates into 2024 meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shield pressuring Marth in general is pretty bad as Falco, I think. I think he has a lot of tools to deal with it well, and like when he wave dashes out of the pressure, a lot of times he's in like a really good spot to like like you can't chase him out of pressure basically if he wave dashes out. And generally I think that the best thing to do, like, let's say you just land like you land a late like nair or a down air or something on Marth's shield. If you're on the back of his shield, maybe you could like read something like, but it's a little bit dangerous because Marth always has the option of like, first of all, he has all the wave dash out options, which are all pretty strong. And then in addition to all of that, he still has down air out of shield. And down air out of shield is like surprisingly hard to deal with a lot of times. And so I
Yeah.
think like most of the time, some sort of like you get the shield pressure and you just move and you sort of continue playing neutral out of it, or you go for like a shine grab, I think are sort of like the plays, shield pressuring Marth. Most of the time, I think like the shine grab is just really good because you get him in the air and you have like this whole like positional change. Really good is like, obviously it's not as good as some other character like grabbing Marth like Fox or something, but it's good because it creates the situation where you're never gonna get like reversaled ever. Whereas there's a lot of times like as the Marth, when Falco is beating up your shield, you definitely have the like a feeling that you're like, okay, I'm gonna try some little trick, and hopefully Falco overcommits, and then I get the hit. Like Marth has like a bunch of like light shield mix-ups and stuff like that, and I think like ultimately like Falco can kind of pressure Marth without being on Marth's shield, and like actually being right in front of Marth and trying to hit his shield more than like once or twice definitely gives him a leg up a little bit.
Okay.
Most of the time, I'd say like the most important part of this matchup, rather than like, see, what's the best way to say it? Being in an unpredictable position, like just sort of continuing to move around Marth, is a lot of times better than any like one individual like strong position, because he's the weakness of Marth a lot of times is that his moves have like a fairly high commitment. Like if he does like a short hop instant fair, then he has like this big window before he can be hit. Or sorry, before he can like act again after the fair where you can hit him. Or like up air is pretty committal, up tilt is pretty committal. He has some moves that aren't quite as committal, but like in general, he's a character who like if he overswings, then he opens himself up. And so if you're moving around a lot and you're kind of mixing up your position, then it puts him in like this mindset of like, well, I need to throw out a move to hit Falco for all this movement that he's doing, but like if I commit to this attack and try to actually hit Falco out of it, then he might be like it might be a bait and then Falco gets in on me. Whereas like any position that you give Marth, if you stay in it a little bit too long, like I think that is like a mistake that a lot of people make in this matchup is they kind of maintain certain ranges against Marth for too long. And if you just maintain any range against Marth for too long and just stay at that range, then eventually he can just do some kind of crazy read at that spot. Like he'll do a dash attack, or he'll wave dash forward smash, or he'll just do some sort of fair read. And once he just has the read that this is like this commitment to his move is probably going to be a fairly successful like gamble because you've stayed in this range so long, then it sort of gives him that confidence of like, okay, I can just commit here. And you can sort of sometimes, like, if you're moving around a bunch, like, I'll do this, like, I move around a bunch, and then I'll shoot a laser in a spot where it seems kind of obvious, and then do something like crouch afterward, and then he'll dash attack, or I'll shield the dash attack, or crouch the dash attack, and then get some sort of opening. So you can kind of, like, abuse it a little bit, but that's just something I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna hop into the VOD and see what's going on. I'll probably watch it for a second before saying anything.
Dude, my dares just aren't reaching him.
Hmm?
My dares just aren't reaching him.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, I like that a lot.
I learned that one from you.
That was a good fade back nair, too. It's a type of, like, quick shield pressure that's usually pretty good. Like, hit him once or twice, do some sort of movement, or, like, mix up.
Yeah.
Quick note, there's a lot of positions that come up that are kind of like this, and I think my favorite thing to do here is you just hit a shine. If Marth DIs out on the shine, which is pretty unlikely, usually they DI in here. Like 99% of the time they'll DI in here. But if they DI out here, you just get like a decent like edge guard position because they go pretty far out. But most of the time they'll just DI in, and you get something like shine, double jump, up air, and that's just like a bunch of free damage. And that helps a lot because it'll put Marth at like the percentages where like down air knocks down, and like the matchup gets significantly. Pretty much every Falco matchup gets way better when down air knocks down. So like getting that early percentage on Marth is super important, and that's why like positions like this, just shine up air or shine back air, are really strong here.
The reason I was like I didn't go for it is because I'm so scared of like daring Marth in the air like 20%. Like I know you just hit up air, but I didn't know if up air would reach right there or a nair. So I just like chose to just go back and just play the like corner situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna come up again. It's like this weird combo spot, like kind of similar to this one later in the VOD, where I
Mm-hmm.
just like I did not know if I should just dare or just like leave it alone because it's gonna
Yeah,
like send Marth down, and then I gotta like get back down, and
yeah. In spots like this, and I think there's like basically if the down air off stage is not gonna kill Marth, you should basically never do it. Like I down air here only if I'm gonna get down air down smash or Marth is at a high enough percent that he's gonna die. Otherwise, like if he's like I said, if he's at these percents, I don't really worry about it too much because the shine is guaranteed good here. Like the shine is guaranteed 8%, and he's mostly gonna DI in, and you can just hit him again.
yeah,
You just it kind of is like a guaranteed end to the combo, but the combo ends right here guaranteed anyway. So just like full hopping and shining again there is usually pretty good. And this is part of why getting that percent is so necessary, because if he was at like 40 or something like that, and you got this, and you got this down air, he would get knocked down, and you get put in like a way better position.
yeah.
Okay, your corner pressure looks really good, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I mainly lost just like over some dumb tech flows because I'm like really bad with tech skill right now. Like you see me dash just on a platform when I'm really just trying to come down for laser,
Yeah,
because
no, I
like my
noticed
hands
the
just
tech
aren't allowing it.
skill. Definitely noticed that, but I try not to focus too much on the tech skill stuff.
Yeah,
I'm mostly trying to focus on just like decision making. Okay, I like the dash attack stuff in the corner too. I think that's good. It feels like the corner in particular, you basically have down, and you're not really doing anything wrong when they're in the corner. I think even like the times that you've approached into the corner and stuff felt pretty solid to me. Like maybe there's some like amount you can get better at that, but I would say that like the corner pressure on Marth looks good. It feels like the rest of it right now is like the part that's a little bit more of a struggle.
yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's just a
When I get
yeah. You can just do another shine there. Shine, double jump, aerial. Like so you hit this shine, just jump up and shine this. There's not really a reason to do too much else. Sometimes I'll do up air here, but like I think just doing the shine and then another up air is really good.
okay,
Usually like I said, if you get the shine and on the inside of him and he goes out, the position's not too bad. And like most of the time, they'll just hold in, like almost all the time. From here, it's a little tricky. I still feel like they would probably hold in most of the time. But the shine is Falco's shine is great because it's just guaranteed like 8 damage. Like it's a bunch of damage,
yeah,
like 7 to 8 damage, and like if they do any sort of survival DI, you just get one extra whole aerial, and like you can just rack up like an extra 25-30% really fast. And then like
yeah,
you're not going to be able to get any sort of pillar combos from here. And so it's just that extra damage out of the way opens up so much other stuff for later. And it's nice to like sort of simplify that position. Probably up tilt here on the tech chase if you
the
can.
thing is, I think I tried to and I got short hop on accident,
I see. Okay. I was thinking that was maybe possible.
and that was supposed to be down air. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man,
Yeah,
I
no,
died
they,
for it.
they love that. They're like, oh, I always knew I was good. And it's just the dumbest reversal.
I tried to catch him way dashing out right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I won't spend too much time on this VOD, but I do want to go over a couple points in it. So it feels like Okay, so I think there's a lot of spots in the basic neutral, like sort of like this type of thing where you're both in center. Like, so I think when you're in the advantage state, we're good on that. I don't think we really need to talk about that too much. Like I said, like you could probably improve it, but it's also like based on watching this match, it's definitely your like highest stat is that when you have the advantage state. So I think we're kind of good on that. I think that the early percentages against like playing against Marth when he's at low percent is a very systematic game plan where basically your moves don't work below a certain percent. So you kind of need to get Marth to at least like 10 or 12. Ideally, you want like 16. I usually say 16 is like the bottom limit of where you can get like a shine. And reasonably, like regardless of where Marth goes, you have an option to get like a killer combo. So like usually 16 or 20 is where you want. And up until that point, you don't really want to take as many risks because the payoff of you actually succeeding when you take the risk is a lot lower. So, for instance, like, Marth has a really hard time approaching the side platform. So at low percents, like the match just starts, I don't think going in immediately is particularly good. There's just too many ways for Marth to barely slip out. Like, Marth doesn't have any problems comboing you from zero, but Falco has a lot of trouble comboing Marth from zero. So at the low percents, it's like anywhere below 20, every laser you land is like a significant win because it makes your combo game, like when you actually go for a combo, way better. Especially the 0 to like 12% range because like right here, if you hit this laser down air, like let's say you hit laser early down air on Marth right here, he can just shield before the shine comes out. You would need to hit like a later down air to even get a combo at all. And there's also like the factor that like if you hit this down air and he SDIs a little bit, there's not enough time to get like a dash JC shine here or even walk shine or realize that he SDI'd or anything. It's just really easy for him to slip out, get some grab, down throw, and then tech chase you here. And in the meantime, you didn't actually have any tools that like really work against him. Like when you look at this position, there's nothing here that can potentially like get a huge combo starter on Marth. Even if you like land a shine and he goes up here, what are you really going to be able to hit him with? There's not a lot. So at these low percents, like drop laser, go back to plat, move around, one more laser, every little laser counts. And you're basically in a spot where like if you can land a free shine, that's great. If they give you like a super free grab, that's great. If you get a free nair out of the air, like some sort of nair up tilt or something like that, that's great. Like if Marth is in the air, you can kind of hit him, but on the ground, it's just the risk reward is really against you. So I think like playing these sort of aggro mix-ups when Marth is at such a low percent is not super good. You kind of want to play the low percents. And to some degree, this matchup in general, to be like unhittable, like you want to be very difficult for Marth to try to hit. As his percent goes up, you can start playing around with that a little bit more. Like you're like, I'm really hard to hit, but also you don't really know when I'm coming in. And whereas like at this percent, even if you come in, it doesn't really matter that much to him. So he can basically treat it as like, well, I'll just move around and like I'm fine. Like Marth is not perceiving any danger in this position. Like if you're the Marth here, all you're thinking is, oh, I just need to like clip Falco with something and then I can get like a big combo. And as Falco, you're thinking like, oh, I need to maybe get some damage, get something started, maybe I'll get a big combo, but there's not really any clear roads forward. And so like any risks you take at this percent are like kind of not great. Like if, for instance, like going for like this back air.
Yeah.
Like if you can just stalemate on the platform here or something, that's like significantly better than trying to hit him. Because even if you hit him with that back air, he can probably just CC grab you or something like that. And if the back air hits, you don't really have like a great follow up. Whereas like if you like ignoring the forward smash a little bit, because I don't think the forward smash was a great decision here either, but you get a little bit of damage. Now that Marth is at 20 and you get a shine, there's a lot more options open. Like, you missed the tech skill here, but this was definitely like a free combo, right? And you can get like a big thing. He goes up here, down air him again, up tilt. You can get your whole big combo string because it started at 20 instead of at 0.
Yeah.
That looked like a accidental laser the wrong way. I would say in general, faking coming down from the top plat is really, really good against Marth, and then actually coming down from the top plat is very bad. So, like, a lot of times, like, if you're coming down, you want to come down off of a side plat. And the top plat is sort of like a safe haven from Marth. He has a really hard time actually getting up there and pressuring without setting up for stuff where, like, or not without allowing stuff where you can, like, short hop over his up air and drop through and hit him, or shield drop his aerial and hit him out of it. Like, he doesn't have a lot of ways to really get up here to you. But what he does have is he has a very strong, like, dash dance here on the ground. And so most of the time when you're up here, Marth's focus is not going to be how do I hit Falco for being up here. Marth's focus is going to be on how do I get Falco for coming down. And so almost every time when you're going to come down off of a top plat against Marth, it should be a fake out. And you do a fake out a little bit, but like this one you could have done like drop through, double jump, waveland off, and kind of seen like what Marth did, or just waveland down here and see what Marth does. And like literally like he would have just whiffed a forward smash, and then you can drop down and punish it. But it's like the top plat is basically, he can't come up here, but he can punish you for coming down. And so if you can kind of take your time up here and then move to a side plat and then use the side plat to work your way down to the ground, and you can leave again to go up here whenever you want, and it's pretty good to do that. But coming straight down on Marth is a lot of times what he really wants. Whether you do like a laser or a down air or whatever, a lot of times it doesn't matter. A lot of Marths will just do dash back, dash in like Nair, or a dash in fair here, and like hit you regardless of if you did a drop laser or a drop down air, and kind of just like remove that entire mix up. Whereas like, especially under pressure, if you make it look really clear that you're gonna try to like they're like dashing this way and then you dash this way and shield drop, and it just looks like you're gonna try to drop right on them, and then you just double jump waveland off here or something like that, you're gonna get way more openings off of that, and your risk is a lot lower.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I wanted to mention... Okay, so I think the dash dance here is pretty good, where you do these on the fair. I don't think there's anything super wrong with those, but I do think that as the Marth here, there are, like, I've played a decent amount of this matchup as Marth, and there's basically two types of Falcos. There's the Falcos here that hit this down air and are immediately ready for the next interaction. And there are Falcos who hit this down air, and they kind of think maybe they'll just keep shield pressuring you. So, for instance, like the Falcos who are really good at this, like if Mango hits this down air, he is immediately trying to target the roll afterward, rather than like sort of going for like this sort of reset thing. And this will happen sometimes. It's just something to be aware of, like when you go for that down air, to be really aware that like you can kind of keep the pressure on a little bit, but like not like directly on him by continuing to hit his shield, but by chasing his next action. And it kind of happens here with this. I think the cross-up down air is a little scary because he can do that down air out of shield. I think like the cross-up down air is not bad if you're getting out of the corner, but the primary goal with like your neutral spacing, The way I sort of talk about the neutral in this matchup is that, like, Falco, your whole goal is to work Marth into the corner. Because once he's in the corner, you have this crazy, ridiculous neutral advantage. Like, it's ridiculous. So, like, once you're in the corner or he's on ledge, you've basically won. But in center stage, it's it's very like open and very hard to like fully pin him down and limit his options. But you can do a good, like, Marth a lot of times is going to try to dash back and avoid these types of down airs and stuff, and you can use fade back down air and laser spacing, like the dash back dash in lasers you were doing, to kind of move Marth back, and that's where you want to try to fight him. Whereas, like, so for instance, like right here, okay, so you come down, and like I said, coming down from the top plat against Marth is a little dicey in general. But like, let's say starting here, you dash dance here, doing something here where you... Let's see, what's the best way to say it? So the cross up here doesn't gain you space unless you're trying... Like, you basically have to decide which direction you're trying to push Marth. If you're trying to push him over here to the right, then you don't want to be you don't want to be doing cross-ups. You want to be, like, using this inner edge of the side plat, using your position to kind of, like, the threat of the down air, more so to move him. So something like getting, like, the laser like you did, doing a dash dance to bait, like, the fair or whatever, and then doing, like, some sort of movement to sort of, like, for instance, like I said, using the inner edge of this plat, or you kind of, like, it's a little tricky to, like, fully explain it. You can use fade back down airs and stuff like that to push him back. It's I'm trying to think of exactly how to say it. Sorry. You basically want to... Okay. Let me try to just explain an alternative here. So honestly, if I ended up in this position right here, I would definitely be just wave landing off this side. Like, I would jump up here after this laser and wave land off. If he pushes in, then maybe I get some sort of wave land off laser or wave land off aerial. And then otherwise, it'll probably convince him to move back. I think, like, any sort of retreating option here is kind of scary because of the fair. Like, if you get a laser on Marth at this height, your options are instantly nair him, which would have probably been the best option, or you have to do some sort of, like, defensive repositioning, and you kind of just need to play, like, a little bit of a slower neutral where you're like, okay, I'm moving around, and then I push him back afterward. Because he can just kind of get the fair out here, unless you like immediately nair him. So I'm just like thinking about it. It's like, well, like, I think this is like an okay option, but now you're sort of a little bit further over, and Marth is kind of able. It's just sort of like Marth isn't getting pressured to move back into the corner here. It's a very, like, left right, who's on which side, like, type of deal. And eventually Marth is just going to see that, like, oh, they're on this side of me, and just, like, forward smash or something. Whereas, like, if you keep it a little bit more organized, I guess, on, like, how to push him over, like, to sort of put more intention on, like, because, like, once you're here, that's basically it. It's like covering the space from the inner edge of this platform to this position. You need to somehow figure out a way to, like, push Marth from when you're here and Marth is here back into this spot. Because as soon as you get here, you're mad comfortable, and you just kind of mess him up. And so, like, the cross-up down airs sort of just reset the situation on the other side and potentially give you some risk. I think, like... Sorry, it's definitely a little bit tricky to explain it based on, like, the actual visual examples on the screen. I wish I had, like a perfect list of, oh, just do this here and have a clip for it. But I'll come up with a better way to describe it in a minute. We'll try to get through this VOD and get to the next game of it pretty quickly, because I think most of the stuff that I was saying kind of, like, happens a couple other times, and I kind of want to see it on a different stage. Yep, there's the shine.
Oh, we go back to the same stage.
Oh, you go back to the same stage? Okay, well, at least we'll get
Yeah.
to see, like, the second game of it and see what happens. I don't want to spend too much time on the first game. This is kind of that same thing again, where, like, he's at 0. Pressuring them at 0 is sort of what they want. And they can kind of, like, oh, I'll just move around. And then now Marth has their opening at 0, which is, like, really, really scary. Yeah, these notice how the cross-up downers just aren't super doing a lot.
Yeah.
You could definitely be setting up something where, like, that could just be something like a grab or like a shine grab, or just honestly moving away would be better a lot of times. Like like I was saying before, what you kind of want is you want this feeling that Marth can't get you, that you are outside of Marth's range kind of permanently, and they have trouble reaching out to get you. That is sort of like the vibe that needs to be happening in the game. Whereas, like, if you are just reaching for Marth over and over, they just get this perfect defensive, like, they get to play this, like, trap style where they're kind of like, oh, maybe Falco will come in here, and they get something like that. And so there's just a bunch of these positions where you get into it, and you're like, well, it's not, like, disadvantageous. Like, I guess I can, like, sort of scramble it out, but it's not playing into the narrative that Marth is chasing you. It's playing into the narrative that, like, you're trying to chase down Marth, which just makes his life a little bit easier. So it's not like the downer is the worst thing and stuff like that, but it's kind of, you're not getting the other stuff done during the down air. Like, the down air is sort of like, maybe I get this down air, but there's no bait going on against Marth, and you're, like, also creating a situation where you could be potentially getting hit for it. So, like, rather than doing those positions, I think trying to get Marth to swing and miss is a little bit more important.
We don't gotta watch all of it because I also wanted to go over the Fox one.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. What time did we start and what time is it right now? I started
It's
at
6:07.
2:30. Okay. Yeah, let's go for this one for like 5 more minutes so we can switch to the VOD.
Okay.
I think I'm looking for something more concrete to give you. And
No, the cross up downer thing is definitely helping because like I remember watching one of your melee lessons and you were talking about like different drifts when you're approaching, and I feel like what I've struggled with the most like when I learned how to shuffle, I only learned how to shuffle like doing max drift like approaches,
mm-hmm.
like doing the ones where you like dash and then like neutral stick fast fall down air is like extremely hard for me,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. But I wonder if that would be like would that be better in those situations, or should I just like keep trying to get Mark that percent?
Keep trying to get Marth what?
Keep getting trying to get Mark percent at like low percents like 0 through 10%.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna pull up an Uncle Punch thing really quick rather than going over the VOD. And I can kind of just summarize what I've been trying to say a little bit with some like visual examples. And then we can move on to the second VOD. So like, let's say we were here, or like, let's say we're here, and we get this position on Marth, and you were going for kind of like these right here. And if Marth just dashes back, that's great. It can catch him, but if Marth does Nair in place, Marth does up tilt, if Marth just shield grabs it, if Marth dashes in, if Marth does like a fair out of it, there's all these things that Marth can do there that would just like beat it, and it makes the risk reward not quite as good. Whereas like if you're doing something kind of like this, and then you sort of do these like fade back or like these types of things like that, where you're doing sort of like, oh, I'm coming in here, you can kind of create a spot where like if Falco is doing this to you as Marth, you don't really want to like stay where you're at. You basically want to create a spot where the Marth feels that if you do that, you might do this, and that they can move back and like punish it or something like that. And so you're like,
Mhm.
okay, what if I did do the full down air? What if I did? What if I did? And eventually Marth is just moved back all the way over here. And if you're not able to move Marth back, and they're sort of pushing in on you, you can just leave. And then you're like, oh, I'm actually pushing in on you, Marth. But you don't actually need to like full commit to these positions where you're like, boom, like that. That's a lot better to just be like, oh, I'm actually going to come in. I've been doing a lot of this, where I just do like a laser crouch, and then it sort of avoids a lot of the positions where Marth can sort of like jump an instant fair you or jump an instant nair you. And so you get this, and then they do some sort of dash back, and then you can get a little bit extra space, or you can get this type of space, and it'll sort of cause them to move back. Basically, you need to use any means necessary to make this position. And so if Marth, without taking, like, you want to create as little risk as possible, and get Marth over into the corner, which is definitely going to include, like, a bunch of, like, oh, we got to move around, we're going to do some fake stuff where we come down, and then we're here, and we're like, oh, now I'm going to come in with the down air, but you're not actually, and then you can move Marth back using that. Marth uses a lot of, like, he needs to know exactly what you're doing, to, like, let's see, what's the best way I was going to say? Like, it's kind of like what I was saying with the corner before, where as long as Marth doesn't read the exact moment where you're coming in, he can't get you. As long as you're kind of doing this pressure stuff in the corner, then he's sort of like, I can't really get out. And then if he reads you coming in at one moment with like an up tilt or something, then he gets like a kill. And the center stage is like reasonably similar to that, where like, you should basically be using every time you feel like you should approach Marth to scare Marth into thinking you're gonna approach, and then using that to push him more into the corner. That's sort of like the summary of it. Whereas like
that does make sense.
Like, instead of using the cross-up down air, you threaten the cross-up down air, move him back into the corner a little bit, mix up the timing, and then maybe, like, catch him, like, if he does this and then dashes back in, you mixed up the timing for a second, you can catch him coming back in, or you can, like, pretend that you're going to push him into the corner. There's so many spots that, like, this will happen, where I will get, like, something where I do, like, boom, boom, and then Marth dashes back into the corner, and then it's hard to show it without controlling both characters, but I'll basically like get Marth in a position where he is gonna be right here, and he thinks that I'm about to just like do this, like right on top of him. But what you can do instead, so he's gonna try to do this thing where he's like, actually I'm right here, and then you try to come in and he gets this dash like barely into the corner and then gets a grab. And so what you can do against that is you do this, and instead of coming all the way in on him, you do this, where you come, like, less in, like you do that, and then he'll get this dash back, dash in, and now he's dashing directly into you, and you can get this. So it's kind of like, instead of going, like, boom, 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 you go, like, boom, 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 like that, where you get this, like, oh, I'm fading back, and now I'm going in, like, sort of like a fake approach to push him into the corner, and then hit him as he's coming back in. Because if he just keeps retreating, you'll eventually just get him into the corner. So every time he retreats, he wants to come back in, and you just don't want to be approaching him while he's retreating. You want to be like, oh, here I come. Oh, you move back? That's too bad. Oh, here I come. Oh, you move back? That's too bad. Boom, and now you're actually trapped in the corner. That's sort of like the flow that you want to focus on a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, and I don't feel like that was the perfect explanation, but I do think I hit on some of the more important points. Okay, so what is the second VOD you want to watch?
I sent it already to you in DMs.
Okay.
I think it's just well, we can just go over the third game.
She can kill you.
I feel like by the time the third game came, he adapted to me very well. And, like, it just felt like defensively, I couldn't really do much. Timestamp is around 7:08, by the way.
On what?
On this VOD right here, the one that you're currently. Like 7 minutes, 8 seconds.
Sorry, say that again?
We could go to game 3, because at that point, I just didn't feel like I could do well against him defensively. Like I felt like I was
Got it.
very like scared of him by game three, and I kind of just like couldn't get out of his pressure. Like I
Okay,
feel like I
yeah.
do really bad defensively against Fox, and it's really hard for me to like escape the pressure once I'm like in this spot right here. Besides
Mm-hmm.
like just rolling and hoping they don't read it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting for the pressure. I feel like that stock, the pressure wasn't really happening too much. I want to see where he's getting in on you. Because so far it seemed like the laser zoning is fine, and you just sort of like missed a couple position. This also will happen. Like you will have to like roll a lot against Fox, and it's just not a big deal. Ideally, you will roll right here, like before the up air hits. You can a lot of times see that Fox is like full hopping above you, and then just roll right now. And then because he has the ending lag off the up air or whatever aerial he did, it's a lot of times a lot harder to chase you. Whereas if you roll like right here, there's a way higher chance that Fox can react to your roll because he's already on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, so far I like the laser spacing. I think it's pretty good. Okay.
From this point on, I don't take another shot. By the way, so
Okay. That'll be useful because so far I was like, not really doing too much wrong. Mostly just like missing a couple combos and stuff like that.
yeah, my punish game right now is not the best, but I'll definitely work on it. I just want to make sure like my neutral is doing well.
So I'm just taking out a full screen because sometimes lately my computer's been having weird issues with full screen videos while streaming.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so I mean, so far I'm liking how you're playing the matchup in general. I think. Hmm.
Like those nares.
Yeah.
Like
So it definitely seems like there's just positions where you're sort of giving up on the laser spacing, where like you could definitely have like a laser out right here, like you had earlier in the game, and
mhm.
he wouldn't be able to press in. Um, One quick note that I always like to share in this matchup is that there's a specific laser height that I always call a snout laser because it goes direct. You fire it directly at Fox's nose in terms of height, and it's really really good because it hits him for dashing. Like because his dash he like ducks a little low, right? And the laser still hits him for dashing, and it'll hit his short hop nairs. Whereas if you shoot lasers too low, a lot of times they can like sneak in over it with like a short hop nair. So,
Mhm.
but I haven't really seen that happen too much. It looks more like you are like sort of like losing like the laser discipline a little bit as the match goes on, which is frustrating. That happened to me last night against Josh Man. Like as the set goes on, you sort of start getting more into like, oh, I gotta like hit him with my moves and stuff like that, and like,
Yeah.
and as soon as like the focus leaves from the laser zoning, like Fox is just faster and kind of better in every way. um, the laser is the only reason that Falco can keep up with Fox, and so like if you're playing situations without like a significant chunk of like laser zoning, like when you're doing like this laser stuff, Fox can't get you. You know, it's only, I mean, obviously that was kind of a silly spot with the roll, but like if you have the lasers up and you are shooting them continuously, there's not a lot Fox can actually do to like break it. Like so far, when you're doing the lasers, Fox has not been able to get in on you. It's only when you stop lasering like this that you're
Mhm.
doing this, you start doing like these timing mix-ups where you're like
Yes.
where you're like, okay, I've lasered enough. Let me play like the mix up, and look at what the Fox is doing. They're doing nothing. They do this sometimes where they're basically like, they don't really know what to do against your lasers. Like, if they had something that they could do to beat your lasers, they would already be doing it. So instead, what they do is they sort of hope you just, like, they sort of hope you kind of just run out of ammo, but mentally. Like, they're sort of, like, hoping that you shoot a few lasers, realize that, like, you haven't won neutral yet, and that they're not. Like, they're sort of like, you can shoot as many lasers as you want. Like, I'm not going to give it to you. But, like, if you just shoot a ton of lasers and you move around the stage and you shoot a bunch of them, eventually you'll find a position on Fox that's good for you. Like, being overly passive as Fox there is not good. It's just sort of like a mental bait to be like, maybe you should stop lasering because I'm doing nothing about it. And it's like, doing nothing about it should not stop, like, the laser pressure. Like, they're just kind of sitting here. If you just kept shooting these, they're going for, like, Z power shield. And it's like, no, like, if you keep shooting these, eventually you're just going to get, like, an approaching laser on their shield and mess them up. Like, eventually this is going to be approaching laser shine grab in the corner or something like that, and you can potentially get a kill out of that. But you can't let basically anything they do. They're going to try all kinds of wacky things, and they're going to jump to the plat, and they're going to jump to the other plat, and they're going to shield in the corner. They're going to do everything they possibly can to get you to stop lasering, because there's no real way past the lasers. And so, like, the Nairs are only getting in when you stop shooting the lasers. And the spacing, like, doing, like, laser dash dance and stuff like that is good, as long as you're not actually, like, putting yourself in danger. Like, if you did, like, this earlier dash dance, like, if you did this dash dance, but then after this one, you did a retreating laser, you would have been fine. You could have actually caught, like, Fox doing the Narian. So it's not bad to mix in the dash dances, as long as you recognize that every time you do a dash dance, you're giving Fox, like, an opening to approach you. You can give up, like, you can be like, laser, 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 dash dance, and then know that that dash dance is giving Fox a signal that he can approach. And that's why you want to do, like, laser, 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 dash dance, retreating laser, and then start the lasers up again, where you're, like, you're basically doing, like, you know, like what Marth does, where Marth, like, runs up to Fox and then gets close to Fox and then runs away and then tries to grab the... Oh no, is my computer doing the thing again?
That's unfortunate. Oh, yes.
Okay, I didn't cut out or anything, right?
No, you didn't get out.
Okay, cool. I feel like I've got like 5 minutes until my computer completely crashes. So I'm hoping that it makes it through the lesson, because this happened like a few days ago and I'm not sure why. But yeah, so that opening in the lasers is what's like, it's creating not necessarily like a vulnerability. You're creating like a vacuum for Fox to attack into, and it's only It's only a vulnerability if you're not prepared for it. Like if you're not, like I was saying, like if you do the laser dash dance, but you're ready for Fox to approach here. Like, if you do this, he can't approach. He still can't approach. When you do this, if you know that this creates a potential for Fox being able to approach you, and you retreat and laser the gap you know that, like, Fox has a potential to attack into this. If you play around that with your next laser, then this dash dance was mad good, because you, like, convinced him to, like, move out of his defensive position into your laser, potentially giving you some kind of, like, additional setup. So it's not as much about him, like, reading your habits as much as, like, you creating, like, a gap for him to attack into, and then not, like, recognizing that you gave him that gap. Oh, that was actually so good. Like, this weight into the full hop down air, I'm like, huh. If I did that, I would have felt smart.
He died for it. He was just trying to stun on me. We're friends, so it's like, we're friends, so he's just trying to, like, stun on me last time.
One more time,
He's
sorry.
just
The
trying
mic
to.
is a little bit unclear. Sorry about that.
Sorry. No, he's like we're friends, so he's trying to do something cool on me last stock. So just like,
Uh,
and then I end up like getting a kill off of this.
ooh.
Oh, wait, no, I don't. I messed up my drag. And yeah,
Okay, yeah. Hmm. Yeah,
I think
I think in both of these, to sort of summarize, I think that obviously there's a bunch of smaller positions that we talked about and stuff like that. But I think that the overall is that I think you should trust your game plans a little, like it. So the Marth one, it felt like it feels like basically when the I think okay. So the difference, there's a little bit of a difference between the Marth stuff and the Fox stuff, obviously, but there's sort of like a hmm I think like being fully committed to the goal based like game plan type stuff is going to be significant cuz against the Fox it basically feels like you had a game plan and it works, but then it's possible for you to get thrown off that game plan or like be like, "Oh, I'm doing the game plan," and then like there's sort of holes in the game plan. And against Marth, I kind of got something similar where it just feel I can just feel basically through your play that there's a bunch of positions that you've like solved and thought through, like the Marth corner pressure, your lasers against Fox. There's like a bunch of refinements in those spots where I can tell I'm like, oh, like he's good at these. He's good at these spots. He's thought through these positions. Like you're not shooting lasers randomly. But then it feels like there are spots where like even though you know the right lasers to be doing and like you sort of start deviating from that plan. And like for instance, like against Marth, you know that you're really strong in the corner. Like it's obvious that you're really strong when you have Marth cornered, but you need to take the next step after that and be like, therefore logically all of my play should go towards getting Marth into that really good spot. And sort of not making any decisions that work against that goal. And so, like, against Fox, you have, like, the laser thing, and it's more about, like, okay, I know these laser positions are good, so how do I make sure that I stick to that plan when things are, like, slightly unfamiliar? And so that's kind of my, like, generalized read, is that it feels like you have a lot of the specifics down, and then when things get a little bit more abstract, you haven't fully put in like the time to like reduce those abstractions towards continuing to move towards like the positions and stuff that you do know.
hmm
And so like I would say that like outside of this lesson, like moving forward, the best thing would be to like recognize the good positions that you do like in every matchup and then focus on how to avoid getting like how to avoid English is hard. How to avoid like getting thrown off from those positions or from those like thought patterns. Like for example, against the Fox, if you had some other VOD of this, you could be like, okay, I know my lasers are solid, like they're working. So how come these few times the lasers don't work? And like in this VOD, I think it was like 3 times that I saw where like if you had just done a retreating laser in that position, you would have reset back into your comfort zone and been fine. So it's sort of like plugging those holes of like, or like the cross up down air against Marth, where you're like, is the cross up down air like, it's fine to be doing the cross up down airs, but then when you watch the VOD, be like, okay, is the cross up down air contributing directly to the goal that I have of putting Marth in the corner? And if not, how can I like change what I do in that position to like to fix that? So it feels like it's sort of like a game plan hole type issue that like if you can fix that and start focusing on the holes in the game plan, the parts that you do know and understand and stuff will just get stronger because you'll be directing everything more directly towards those things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
Um, I mean, besides that, I mean, I have like one more question to ask
yeah,
because
yeah, no, go for
unrelated
it.
to the
Any other
VODs that you've
questions or
already
whatever.
shown. Yeah. Do you have any like? Are you still playing Falco? I don't know if
Yes.
you're like playing Fox Sheik or.
Yeah, I'm doing the triple main right now. I'm doing Falco Fox
Uh,
Sheik.
awesome. Do you have any VODs against you versus Peach at all?
Peach?
Yeah, Peach as Falco.
Um, I might have some slippies. I can look into my slippies and potentially see if I have something to send you.
Yeah, if you
I
have any
haven't
like,
played Falco in tournament against Peach in a little bit. There's not
okay,
SoCal is very devoid of peaches. Like we do not have a lot of peach players in SoCal.
yeah, because I watch a lot of your gameplay and I try to like mimic it in a way that's because you're like a lot more digestible. I kind of
Mm.
know what you're doing because you
Mm-hmm.
like follow your game plans really well compared to like watching someone like Mango who's like
Yeah,
thinking
I
on
get
like
what you're
three
saying.
fives.
Yeah.
Like
Um.
you, in case you're a lot more cutthroat and dry with it, and then like some other players, I just can't tell what's going on through their head. But
Yeah, that's fair. I also have a few lesson VODs of Falco versus Peach. Like I think I did one a couple months ago that was really solid. Like I think I did two of them in like a week, and then both Falco players messaged me. I think I might have even tweeted about it that like both of them messaged me that they went and beat the Peach like that week.
oh, that's awesome. I mean, I've watched some of your Falco versus Peach lessons, and it's really helped me out because there's this player called Cop that's at our Georgia Melee weeklies. He's like top three in Georgia right now, and I
Mm-hmm.
went game five with him last week, and all I did was really just camp top lat, low laser, high laser over and over again. But his
Mm-hmm.
punish is like insane. So like every time I got touched, I kind of just died. So
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah,
it
okay,
was game five last talk.
I can try to find a Slippy and send it to you. I can do that like pretty much right now after the lesson.
And besides that, I mean, the last thing I can probably ask is you don't have to go too in depth on it, but against Fox, usually like when I'm on ledge, it's really hard for me to get like on stage, especially when he's like spamming back air. Like
Yeah,
it feels
yeah,
like
okay, yeah.
it feels like sometimes it like catches either like double laser catches like sometimes my aerials like get mixed up into a shield and I get backered for it, or sometimes like he can catch the side B I send out and it's just like it's kind of frustrating sometimes. So I don't know, am I supposed to? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like if they're just doing that
So I think so. You're saying like they do like short hop back here, right?
short hop, back air, full hop over and over again.
Okay, cause so I like Laserland from the ledge. Like I do that on Yoshi's really really often. Like you just double jump laser, and I'll do like double jump laser shield on platform or double jump laser shield on platform shield drop down air, and that's like really really strong. And it's also not too bad on like here, like let me show you really quick. I'm down to go a couple minutes over. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Um, so like on this stage, like you can go like this. Like you get this laser where you go up, ah, where you go up like that, and that's like I catch so many foxes doing this where they're doing like a back air wall, and I just come in like over them like that. So I think like
Mm,
this is really good, and then like if you know if there's anything to learn from Magi, it's just that being really really good at the ledge dash into shine is like enough that people will give you so much space by the ledge that you can get double lasers out. That's basically like the real mix up. Like this is sort of like an extra thing that I really like doing, and I think it's really really good. Probably Falco's best option in general, but I think that like
mhm.
it doesn't work on every stage. Whereas like if you can get like your ledge dash out to here, then like every time you get the ledge, they're not gonna want to be in this area. They're gonna move back a little bit, which just gives you the free double laser. And
That's funny.
that's like essentially like the solve to that position is just have good enough ledge dashes that they're like they feel pressured to move away from the ledge and then give you this space.
Mm.
I'm so bad at ledge
Yeah, I
dashes
really
right
like
now.
the laser shield on plat.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really nice.
super good, and I think it works on Battlefield too. I'm pretty sure you can just get it on Battlefield.
Yeah, I think you can do it on Battlefield too.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like a little harder on Battlefield. Like, yeah, I don't use it as much there just because it's slightly more difficult, but you can definitely get it. Um, on Battlefield, I'm a lot more likely to just do something like that, or like you can even do like this into like oops, like that. Like that's pretty good,
mm,
and then you just jump out of it and like basically like those options of like the platform options combined with like the ledge dash will just move them out of the space enough that you should basically always be able to get this. Like if they're pressuring you, then you start like, okay, actually I'm gonna do this, and then if they don't pressure you, like there's not really a reason to go for the ledge dash because you'll get more mileage out of like the lasers there.
that makes sense.
And yeah, it's definitely mad annoying. Thankfully though, it doesn't take much. Like if some fox is doing that against you and you hit one ledge dash shine like that, they're either gonna stop, which most foxes will, or if they're kind of stubborn, then you just get like a bunch of ledge dash shines in a row. And it's pretty
Yeah.
safe because you can get like that, like where you just come up like ledge dash shine jump, and it's like if they're not ready, they're not going to be able to punish that pretty much ever. Honestly, even if they are ready, it's very difficult to punish that. And it's like once you have the combined, like, okay, got the ledge dash option, got the jump to the platform option, the side B is like the secret extra option that you shouldn't use that much, even though you watch me use it all the time because I'm bad.
I see you did like the late side beer catch. You do like it a
I
lot.
am a side B. Basically, I had a problem for years where I would over side B with Fox, and I would side B from the ledge with Fox and stuff, and then I basically finally fixed it, and then I switched to Falco, and his side B is so much better that like all of my old habits and addictions came back, and I still struggle with the side B of like side Bing too much there. It just always feels like I have some sort of timing mix up there that I want that I can make happen.
Yeah.
Even though like the ledge dash and stuff like that is like way better. But yeah, that's basically the answer to that position. Do you have any other questions before we end it? Anything?
I think the only thing that you don't have to go in depth into is like beating Sheik full hop, not short hop, but full hop.
Oh,
Like, do you
dude,
just not? Do you
yeah.
just like disengage or just like?
Well, it's if she full hops, you can get directly underneath her, which is very strong. Like if you are like if you're here and oh, there's no full hop option? Whatever. But basically, like, if she does some sort of, like, full hop, and your options are basically to go out of the way and avoid, like, the needle range, and then eventually come back in with some sort of, like, high laser nair or something like that as she comes down. Or you can get right underneath her. Like, what I really like doing is I really like positions where I get something like where I'm kind of pressuring her, and then she does the full hop, and you just wave dash in and like up tilt or something like that, and it's pretty good. Or just wave dash underneath her and crouch and like look for where she goes. What they want is they want you to be here, and then they full hop like right here, and you just stay at this range. That's what they want, and it's like your options are either you can leave and come back, or you can just go in immediately. But you shouldn't. You can't just stay in the range. Like they'll do like a backflip here, and they want you to just kind of like, oh, I'll stay at my ideal range, and it's like no, the backflip or like the full hop in general puts them in a spot where they can't. Like they're no longer able to react to what you do. They have made like a big commitment, and they are now hoping that you stay in the same range for them. And it just doesn't need to be true. There's been so many times, too, where I'll get like this, where I get like, oh, I get my range, and they full hop, and I go, okay. And I do this where I like leave, and I come back, and they full hop again. I'm like, okay, I leave, and I come back, and they full hop again. And I'm like, nah, I got right underneath you, and it's over.
Yeah.
And so, like, they can't ever force anything out of their full hop, and so it's purely like a defensive / like stalemate type of deal. Whereas, like, you can make things happen by getting directly under Sheik full hop, or just leaving and coming back with the lasers. So it's like, even though it's really annoying and there's no way to directly punish it, it essentially gives you free reign over the stage on the ground, and like overall is like an advantage position for Falco in my opinion.
Because like between my time like playing the Sheik matchup, I got really good at it. Because at first I struggled with short hop Sheiks, and I realized you just like mirror into them, and then I easily beat it. But then next level was like the full hop Sheiks, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, the full hop is much worse than the short hop. The full hop is basically just like... Yeah, like I said, it's just like, well, I'm really, really safe for a second. And it's like, well, you gotta come down. And when there's platforms, it's a little frustrating. I think, basically, Falco's full hop, Sheik can't do anything about it. And Sheik's full hop, Falco can't do anything about it. And so when you're on these stages where, like, you're on, like, Battlefield or something, and you're here, and you do this, and then Sheik jumps up, at least on these stages, you can kind of protect, you have the platform to kind of protect you, or you can catch her coming down with, like, a shine. And so you do have options here, but there's a lot of spots where, like, if I'm here, and, like, I do this, and Sheik full hops, I'm just gonna go, like, I'm just gonna go like that. I'm not gonna deal with it. And, like, if you're playing a Sheik who's really committed to playing this defensive, annoying style, it's unfortunate, but there's gonna be a lot of, like, you just kind of move around the platform, like, a lot, and you're just like, oh, we're really moving, and there's a lot of, like, oh, now she's moving, and you kind of... And then eventually you get a setup. Like, I think that Falco generally wins those spots when you're kind of moving around the platforms a lot, but they can create this very extended, like, oh, you have to hit me with these lasers, because I'm on the side plat, and now you're here, so I went down to the ground, and now you're faking coming down, and now you went over here, and now you this, and now I full hop back to the plat, and you're like, dude. But eventually, you can just get something like, I really like these lasers, by the way, where you, like, can approach from here, because you're like, Sheik's on side plat, you're on side plat, and then you can just get something like this. Once you're underneath her, and she's stuck here, it's actually just pretty good pressure in general, because you have this, and you have this, and you have this, and you have, like, these where you can, like, oh, like, you're here, and you pressure her, and she goes up here, and you just get, like, this. You just jump up, you look for, like, a shield poke, and you get, like, a shine or something like that. It's just, she's really good at stalemating with the full hop, but it never really gives her an advantage. It's just sort of her hoping that by doing the full hop, you'll give her an advantage somehow.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I really have to ask. Thank you.
What's up?
That's all I really had to ask. So thank you.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm glad. And if you have any additional clips or questions that come up based on the stuff we talked about in the lesson, especially the Marth stuff, because I feel like that was the most abstract, where I was having a little bit of trouble giving, like, very specific things to implement. I think, like, if you try to do the stuff and then, like, it doesn't work and you're confused, feel free to send me a clip on it, and I can just, like, respond with, like, a text message or something on Discord.
Alright, awesome.
Alright, sounds good. I hope you have a good one, man.
Alright, appreciate it, Fiction.
Yeah, have a good one. Peace.